Able to, would you please rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance. Thank you. The officer's return of this meeting warrant shows that it was properly served and posted. I am not going to review the moderator rules as they have not changed since the last meeting. The only thing I will, I guess our last change for the last meeting, especially due with the COVID stuff, we have made a change saying that if you do leave to use the restroom for whatever reason, once the voting begins, you will not be allowed back in until the voting has concluded on that article. Okay, that didn't change. It was just, I guess, the most recent change. Just bear with me, I appreciate it. Again, that was the moderator rules. Same thing with the safety rules for COVID. Again, I'm not going to go over them. We just appreciate your cooperation with social distancing in and out of the meeting at the end, wearing masks as much as you can and when appropriate. At this point, I think pretty much everybody's heard something about COVID where everybody can just kind of help out. It's not just for you, it's for everybody else's safety as well. So again, we just appreciate your cooperation on that. Okay, so we are going to have one microphone here in the center. Mr. Dixon is going to be sanitizing it as appropriate, and that one does not have any batteries, so hopefully this meeting we shouldn't have any problems with it. We'll wait and see. We're going to start off with some quick introductions. Well, I say quick, but we're going to do introductions quickly. And a couple more housekeeping things and we'll get at it. So my name is Derek Hall. I am the moderator.
Carol Harris, Town Clerk.
Donna Brewer, Town Council.
Mike Curry, Select Board Chair.
Board Member.
Teresa Griffiths, Select Board Member.
Carter Terenzini, Town Administrator.
Adam Lamontagne, Assistant Town Administrator.
Kelly Pomprion, Town Accountant.
Thank you. And down in front, please. Yep.
Amy Guthrie, Advisory Committee.
Thomas Smith, Advisory Committee Chairman.
Tony DeJoy, Advisory Committee.
Debbie Wilder, Advisory Committee.
So one of the reasons why I did that, whenever you use the microphone again, please name and address. Let us know whatever it is that you're going to be discussing, who you are. Mr. Terenzini, I believe you have something you wanted to address, so I wanted to introduce you first, and then of course you can have the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Carter Terenzini. As I said, this is my last town meeting with you, and I've had some great pleasures over the course of the year of working with you all. And tonight, we're going to present 3 awards to 3 of our exemplary town employees. The last 2 years, I've been able to do it at a luncheon I've hosted for them, and that didn't work out very well this year, so thank you for bearing with us. These awards were created 3 years ago to honor employees who have given above and beyond service to the community in one of 3 areas that we believe deserves recognition: proficiently and efficiently, by stepping up and stepping in, or suggesting ideas that result in the members of the general public and their peers. In this case, it was said that he has always gone and has made and fixed items for the town buildings, helped out the Buildings and Grounds Department while still maintaining his regular. This award, Mark Danielson, 9 years, highway with, forming with our highway department, has not only helped me and the community through changes and gaps in management as we transitioned to a combined DPW, but he has excelled and become a leader that the DPW can rely upon. They get a small, it's not great, certificate, which they get to keep, goes in their personnel file, and more importantly, a check for $250. Mark, can I get you to come up here real quick, please? He's probably going to go around the next few days without the mask so you can't recognize him. I wish I could shake your hand, Mark, and at some point I hope you come back and do that. Thank you so much.
We'll do it on this side, Carter.
Yeah, thank you so much. The second category that we have is called the Communications Award. This award is for those who show a commitment to assisting the public and transparency in government, including improving and/or devising new ways to communicate information within the organization and to the public at large. Quotes from the nomination for this employee, where she provides up-to-date information quickly and concisely. She's pleasant, has excellent telephone skills, and Bridget Lambert has displayed a commitment to communicating well with customers, colleagues, other town departments, and board and committee members alike. She's not able to be with us tonight, but I'm hopeful that Ron Davin will come up and make sure she gets this tomorrow. Lastly, and thank you so much for your patience, is what we call the Pinnacle of Excellence Award. This is for an employee who displays a willingness to make extraordinary efforts in the ongoing improvements of the organization, assists other staff members or departments to complete new or ongoing assignments, and it often requires the person to stretch to learn new programming, methodologies, or processes. In making the nomination of this person, several people said, "We rely on her heavily for many projects. She is the go-to and knows the town inside and out." And I think that any of you who have worked with Ms. Luann Royer would agree with that. Mr. Moderator, thank you for your indulgence, and thank you all for your patience.
Okay, Article 1.
Point of order. My name's Steve Drury. Drury Lane, 18 Drury Lane.
So, Stephen, are you going to read the motion?
Yeah, before you start the meeting, as a matter of record, I asked for a quorum.
Okay, Stephen, that's not the time for it. Okay.
Well, yeah, it is.
Stephen,
I have to provide
Stephen,
record.
that is not the time. Okay.
Mr. Moore.
You're out of order. I called for Article 1. It's going to be read by the Board of Selectmen. You have some discussion on Article 1? We'll be happy to hear it.
You can't do that, Mr. Moderator. I'm bringing up the fact that we don't have a quorum and we can't further
Okay.
business.
Yes, we can,
Without a
and yes, we are.
quorum.
Stephen.
And you understand right here that it says 0 quorum, and you cannot show me where in the town that we voted a 0 quorum at
Okay.
any point or any time.
And right now,
Continuing.
Stephen, right now is not the appropriate time. I'll allow you time on the microphone unless you're asked to leave, okay? Please. We're going to do Article 1. You'll have your time at the microphone, okay? Article 1.
Right afterwards.
Go ahead.
Article 1. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" in the phrase "or take any other action related thereto," and correcting the year from 2020 to 2021.
Thank you. Advisory Committee.
I need a second.
Advisory Committee recommends a yes vote, 4 in favor, 1 being absent.
I need it.
Do I have a second?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Steve, can you hear him on the Advisory Committee? Okay, thank you.
No problem.
It was just a little,
I just
thank you.
for someone.
Okay. Further discussion on Article 1.
Point of order, again. Mr. Moderator, I need to address the fact that you're not bringing up the
Quorum. Yep.
quorum.
I understand that.
And the fact that we never voted out a quorum, okay? And to conduct business and to continue to conduct business without the people is wrong.
Okay.
It's wrong.
And I understand you have a citizen's petition for that, which we'll discuss in a little bit.
Well, that's the
And the way we have run all of the meetings is this exact same way, okay?
Excuse me, if I may.
Go ahead.
I didn't bring up that, but since you did, okay, I have a problem with that because you're taking a warranted items, 2 of them for citizen petitions, and you're moving them to this meeting, which actually requires 100 signatures versus
Okay.
10.
So,
And
Stephen,
if let me
that is not
continue.
the, no, I'm not, because that's not the point of
You don't
order.
have
If there's a
discretion in
point of
this.
order, Stephen, stop. If there's a point of order on this article, I will hear it. You are talking about another article with signatures and everything else.
I'm
We're not
speaking
gonna
to the
discuss
whole
that.
meeting, sir, respectfully. I'm telling you that you're holding a meeting without the body,
Okay.
without the people.
It's been heard. Thank you. Further discussion, Article 1. Further discussion on Article 1? Just so we know, Article 1 has to be a hand count, a hand vote. It's going to pass by 9/10, or it has to pass by a 9/10 vote. All in favor of Article 1, raise your hand and keep it held up there, please. Nice and high so we can see them and read them and all that, okay? Okay. You can put your hands down. I'm going to ask, is this a unanimous vote? Are there any noes? Anybody opposed this vote?
No.
Okay. We are then going to re-raise our hands so I can count them. So if you're in favor of this article, please raise your hand, keep it raised, so I'll get you a number, okay? Okay, thank you. And opposed? If you'd raise your hand, opposed. Just keep it held. Okay, thank you. Article 1 passed by a 9/10 vote at 6:16 PM. Article 2.
Mr. Moderator, Article 2, consent agenda held over from 2020 annual town meeting. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" in the phrase "or take any other action related thereto."
Do we have a second? Okay. Advisory Committee?
The advisory committee recommends a yes vote, 4 in favor, 1 absent.
Discussion on Article 2. Further discussion, Article 2? All in favor of Article 2 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
No!
So that passed at 6:17 PM. Article 3.
Mr. Moderator, Article 3, amending the FY21 operating budget. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" and the phrase "or take any other action related thereto," and further by striking the column entitled Notes.
Okay, thank you. And we have a second. Advisory Committee?
Advisory committee recommends a yes vote, 4 in favor, 1 abstaining.
Okay, discussion on Article 3. Further discussion, Article 3. All in favor of Article 3 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
No!
That passed at 6:19 PM. Article 4.
Mr. Moderator, Article 4, amending the bylaws related to appointment of officers and trustees. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" in the phrase "or take any other action related thereto."
The advisory committee recommends a yes vote, 5 in favor.
1 second, hold on. Thank you, but hold on 1 second.
I understand what you're saying. So this is the fault. This is the voter's guide, which is based on the warrant. Right.
You don't have to read all that. Yeah. What do you wait? Okay, so where is that? Okay, that's what I'm saying.
thanks for your cooperation. I apologize, we're just trying to clarify something. Advisory Committee, go ahead, sorry.
Advisory Committee recommends a yes vote, 5 in favor.
Okay, discussion, Article 4. Yes, sir.
My name is Dan Keeney. I live on 12B Memorial Street in Baldwinville.
Thank you, Dan.
Just a question regarding this. It appears to be an article that requests combining more than 2 funds into 2 funds, if I understand it correctly. Is that correct? It says combining a number of small trust funds into 2 funds. If that is correct, then will the funds for the other unnamed funds be apportioned to the cause for which they were originally voted?
We'll have some answers for that question, absolutely. Yeah, or both of your questions, sure.
Thank you.
My name's Carter Terenzini. I'm the town administrator. There were approximately 8 small funds with a variety of names for a variety of purposes. They were so small that they were difficult to manage, and in fact, nothing had been expended out of them for a number of years. We went to the Office of the Attorney General. Please, allergies, nobody panic. We went to the Office of the Attorney General, which is a means to combine these funds, and they authorized the creation of 2 funds. One is to provide heating assistance for low-income persons under the new purpose, which reflected the purposes of the previous 5 funds. The second one is to provide art, cultural, historic projects, which was the essence of the 3 funds. In approving that combination, which saved us going to probate court and all of that expense, they designated the office, or actually the select board, as the trustees. This will strike the naming of trustees for the John Richardson Fund, Masonic Fund, and the Walter and Haskell funds, because in combining all those funds and with the Attorney General designating the Select Board, this would be duplicative and at odds. Hopefully that answers your question, sir.
It does. Follow up, please?
Yes, go right ahead.
Does that mean that we will only have 2 funds, or are there other funds that still exist?
There are numerous other funds that still exist. This is simply the combination of these 8 into 2. And if you want to send me an email or see me after the meeting, I'll get you the list of the other funds.
They should be in the town report, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Article 4. Further discussion, Article 4. All in favor of Article 4 signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? That's unanimous at 6:24 p.m. Article 5.
Mr. Moderator, Article 5, Capital Budget and Special Articles Related to the General Fund. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to," and the phrase "or take any other action related thereto."
Okay, it's been read. We have a second. Advisory Committee.
Advisory Committee recommended 2 in favor of this article and 3 against, with the dissenting members wanting to see ClearGov line item removed from the article to be voted on separately.
Thank you. Discussion on Article 5. Go ahead.
Mike Carey, Select Board Chair. Speaking from the Select Board that did vote for this, although I believe we also had some discussion as well, I want people to understand what the ClearGov line item is and what's paying for it. And I just have 5 points to make, very quick, like bullets. First thing, it's from free cash. It's no impact to the operating budget. In this trial run, this first year, we'll see how it works. We'll see how much flexibility it gives the staff and the community, and then work. During our retreat, where the select board chooses its goals, we made that a priority to do that study. Number two, it offers transparency to all members of the community, from children to our seniors. It basically has financial, demographic information, financial information available in a graphic user interface where it's not complicated, nor do you need training to use it. Number three, it does draw live information from current financial, education, and I want to stress that, education information as well, and from demographic state databases. Number four, it does not encumber any staff member or department from its 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week operation. This data is available to you at any point from its website, from the website that's devoted to Templeton. And the last item, it is in the best interest of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Article 5. You can be next. Sure.
Steve Drury, Drury Lane, Templeton, Mass. I'd like to be explained on the tax delinquent properties and the liens, how they take effect in the ownership of the property as to the liens, how they, in other words, take the title. I want you to explain to me how a tax lien, which let's just say it's $500, can take a $30,000 property, and who really owns it, since we're, it's an allodial deed situation, and this is almost a punishment if you don't pay your taxes. So it's almost, to me, a slavery issue. If you don't pay your taxes, you lose your stuff. So explain to me how you do that through the lien and tax delinquents through 62 tax.
And who owns it?
Through the 62.
And Stephen, and who owns it? Is that what you're asking? Two questions? How?
For the attorney. Excuse me, that's for the attorney. I'm sorry. I want her to explain that.
Okay.
I need to know, because this could happen to me, the filing of liens on tax delinquent properties. This could happen to me, and
Understood.
It's an issue because you're going to be bringing up something.
Okay. Could somebody else please explain yep, absolutely, the tax lien process and who owns those properties?
You're on.
Carter Terenzini, Town Administrator. So the process works in this fashion. For those who are delinquent in real estate taxes at the end of the fiscal year, in this case, June 30, 2020, all of those properties are advertised a notice of lien. You may have seen that in the Gardner News from time to time, or on the bulletin board in Town Hall. Each one of those properties costs us approximately $75 to advertise, and I believe we had around 90 properties this year that had to be advertised. People then have 30 days to come in and to pay those taxes or to make a payment arrangement with the treasurer collector. At the end of that time period, if you have not paid the taxes or made that arrangement, a lien is put on your property, filed at the Registry of Deeds. That costs, and by then we're usually down to 50 or 60 properties. That costs approximately $105 if my memory is correct. So the $10,000 that we have in the budget, all that's basically doing is covering the properties that go delinquent each year. The process of the newspaper advertisement and that lien. So what happens is properties that have been liened, we don't own just yet. Yes, they're in tax title, but before we can do anything with them, we have to go through a process known as foreclosing the right of redemption. There's two means to do that. I'm not going to bore you with one of them, because the one that we have to use most commonly is taking the property through a foreclosure process at the land court. That requires filing fees and the payment of tax council monies. That costs approximately $1,500 per parcel by the time it's all done. A little more, a little less. And then it takes about 18 months, again, a little more, a little less. Only once that process has been completed can the town offer those properties for sale. You're going to find in, I think, maybe 2 or 3 articles, a sale of 5 or 6 properties. And so what we've been trying to do over the last 4 years is to make sure that the tax lien process is done every fall. When I first got here, there had not been any advertisements in 4 years. Since then, the Office of the Treasurer Collector has been doing those every single year. Then we've been trying to take 6, 7, 8 parcels through land court, again, every year. This $17,500 allows us to do things like the asbestos study on one property we want to try to yet dispose of, and to go through land court. It's not rapid progress against the backlog, but it's small progress, and we hope that you can keep chipping away over time to reduce the number of properties that you currently hold as tax title properties.
Thank you. Do you have a follow-up to that?
Yeah, I have one more question. As to the fees that are collected from the properties, are they limited to the investment that you've endowed? Or do you sell them at the standard rate of real estate? In other words, if you're only into it for $5,000, do you sell them for $25,000, $30,000?
My apologies, Carter Terenzini, Town Administrator, now with the microphone turned on also. In this particular case, some of the properties, we had specific things we wanted to have happen. If they were small, we wanted them combined with properties next door. If an abutter bought it, so that over time you become more compliant with zoning. Also, we had a property that was fire damaged, so we wanted to have an escrow held to where the buyer would either demolish it or start the rehab. It's an open auction price. There was no floor on it, and if somebody had bid $1, I do believe the selectmen would be here tonight trying to dispose of it for $1. If it's really worth $12, you think, but the abutter wanted in one case $10,000 for it, they're going to be asking you for permission to. So it's open market, no floor, no ceiling, and the value is whatever a bidder will pay for it on the day that the bids are filed.
I have one more question for you. You spoke to fire gutted properties, and I know I've given the Board of Health a law that basically states that the town is responsible for these properties and to take them down. And I'm wondering, because of the conditions in some of these properties, one in next to the donut place, for instance, that's still privately owned, it's raising an issue of child being hurt or someone being in the property. And it's really a liability issue under the law, Massachusetts law. And excuse me, but I don't have the law with me, but I can tell you that the town is responsible for that. So I must ask, is this your intention, is to take the building down? Or are you going to try to pass it off to someone who's going to buy it?
Mr. Moderator, with due respect, you're ahead of me. Yes.
Nope, go ahead.
I'm
You
sorry,
can respond to
Carter
that. Sure.
Terenzini, Town Administrator. Mr. Moderator, with due respect, I would suggest that the questions and debate on specific parcels be reserved for the article that offers them for sale.
I do believe he referenced the burnt property specifically. So, and it's a valid question. He's asking safety-wise.
In that case, the building has been secured. We will be doing an asbestos survey on it, which I directed to have undertaken the other day. One of the questions from bidders also was, will they in fact be able to reconstruct it? So Ms. Weta, health agent and who manages our development services functions, will be filing an application with the Zoning Board of Appeals to determine if we can get an extension of the build period. We hope that the answers to those two questions will help clear the deck for a sale. Should they not, Mr. Lamontagne and Ms. Weta will be pursuing a grant program through the Office of the Attorney General as soon as that is funded in the state's FY21 budget.
Thank you.
I must ask Mr. Moderator, if he's going to sell a property and through taxation that's going to be an endangerment to somebody, I don't think that's really possible. I don't think that's right either.
Further discussion, Article 5. Go ahead.
Julie Farrell, 24 Myrtle Street, Baldwinville. My question is about ClearGov. Is that a licensing fee that will have to be paid every year, or is it a straight fee and then you're done?
Thanks for your question, Mike Curry, Select Board Chair. Julie, what it is, the $7,500 is a subscription fee for that service. So if we were to continue paying for it, it would be a draw on the operating budget. So as I said, this trial year, it's being paid for out of free cash, so it's not a burden to the operating budget. However, if we were to decide to include it in the budget and it passes through the entire budget process, that's the department heads, that's the advisory committee, it's the select board. It has to survive the budget process in order to stay in the operating budget. I think that it's, does that answer your question? Okay, I won't go on then, sorry.
Further discussion, Article 5. Further discussion, Article 5. All in favor of Article 5 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
No.
And Article 5 passed at 6:38 p.m. Article 6.
Mr. Moderator, Article 6, deposits to general fund stabilization and OPEB accounts. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" in the phrase "or take any other action related thereto."
Motion and second. Advisory Committee.
The advisory committee recommended a yes vote, 5 in favor.
Discussion on Article 6.
Steve Drury, Drury Lane, a reference to see if the town, well, ain't no town here. Objection again.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion on Article 6. Yes?
Dan Keeney, Baldwinville. It says here that the source of funding shall be the free cash. Is that from funds, which fiscal year was that free cash from?
FY20.
Ken.
Yep.
Mike, you can answer it? Sure.
Mike Curry, Select Board Chair. That is from FY20 funds. They were certified actually on record pace this year.
Okay. So these are FY21 expenditures from free cash FY20.
They're future expenditures based on the free cash that was certified from the fiscal year 20 process.
And those expenditures will be in FY '21.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Further discussion, Article 6. Further discussion, Article 6. All in favor of Article 6 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
No.
That passed at 6:40 PM. Article 7.
Mr. Moderator, Article 7, Community Preservation Act Appropriations. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" in the phrase "or take any other action related thereto."
Thank you. Do we have a second? I have a second. Advisory Committee?
Advisory Committee recommends a yes vote, 5-0.
Discussion on Article 7. Further discussion? Article 7. All in favor of Article 7 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
No.
That passed at 6:41 PM. Article 8.
Mr. Moderator, Article 8, Retention of Tax Deeded Properties. I move to waive the reading and approve the articles as published, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" and the phrase "or take any other action related thereto."
Motion second. Advisory Committee.
Advisory Committee recommends a yes vote, 4 in favor, 1 abstaining.
Discussion on Article 8. Further discussion, Article 8. All in favor of Article 8 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
No.
That passed at 6:42. It has to pass by a 2/3 vote, which it did. I apologize. That passed at 6:32 PM. 6:42. I don't know how we can go back in time. I apologize. 6:42 PM. I wish. Article 9.
Mr. Moderator, Article 9, Sale of Parcels Tax Deeded Land. I move to waive the reading and approve the article as published, with the exception of Parcel 3, accepting the phrase "to see if the town will vote to" and the phrase "or take any other action related thereto."
Motion and second. Tom, just 1 second for the Advisory Committee. Sorry, Advisory Committee.
Advisory Committee recommended 5-0 in favor, as long as Parcel 3 was struck from the list.
Article 9. Further discussion? Article 9. Further discussion, Article 9? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed?
No.
Passed at 6:44 PM. As a 2/3 vote, I apologize. That was a 2/3 vote. It did pass. Julie, do you have something? Okay. I don't have an Article 10. That has to be presented to me in writing. No problem. You can, yep, that's fine. I'm giving you the microphone.
Just want to make sure.
I will say Article 10. How's that? Yeah. It's a... Okay, and you have the microphone. That's fine. Article 10. Yes?
Julie Farrell, 24 Myrtle Street, Article 10. Shall the town vote to approve a warning concerning Templeton citizens' fluorosis risk the additive poses to infants, to be added to all water bills and consumer confidence reports, which must be mailed to all water consumers, be posted online and available at the Selectman's Office and the Light and Water Department. The warning is as follows. Your public water supply is fluoridated. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, if your child under the age of 6 months is exclusively consuming infant formula reconstituted with fluoridated water, there may be an increased chance of dental fluorosis. Consult your child's healthcare provider for more information.
That last sentence.
Yeah.
Or take any other action related to there too.
Okay. I'll take any other action.
Okay, that's fine. Yep, I got it. It's posted up here as well. Do I have a second on that?
I second it.
I have a second. Advisory Committee?
The advisory committee voted 5-0 to make no recommendation on this article.
Discussion on Article 10.
Mr. Moderator, Rick Griffiths, 12 Deer Lane. I just had a question for Julie. What is fluorosis, infant fluorosis?
Dental fluorosis.
And what is that? What does it do to the child?
It's mottling of the teeth.
Mottling
Mottling of the teeth, okay? M-O-T-T-L-I-N-G.
You should just grab a microphone. We can hear you, I understand, but maybe some of the people, if it's being recorded, they might not be able to hear you.
Thank you. I did want to make a point in the book Troubled Water by Seth Siegel. It says specifically if your child is only formula fed, but fluoride can get through breast milk. If the mother's eating vegetables watered with fluoride, it can come in through the vegetables as well. So fluoride, in this day and age, chemicals and additives like fluoride aren't just in the water. They're in the water, but they're also in the land, and they also come through in your vegetables and in anything else that you consume that has been processed with water or grown in land that's been watered with fluoride. So mainly through things that have water. You could get it in your juice. I know that my children do not give their kids fluoridated water, and they get enough. They don't even give them the pills, and they have perfect teeth. So
Thank you.
just
Go ahead,
it's a
Julie.
new thing today, I think, worth considering.
The difference between this article and the next article is this is to provide notice to the community that our water supply is fluoridated. Okay, it doesn't do anything to try to take it out, but just to give people a heads up that it is fluoridated. A number of people, Moms to Be is a national organization, they're against water fluoridation because not only does it cause dental fluorosis, it's being shown to be as neurotoxic as lead and arsenic. So it's one of those things, it's probably the easiest thing to remove, but we're not talking about removing it. This is a warning just to let everyone in town know that their water is being fluoridated. So if they choose to filter their water or procure water in some other way that is not fluoridated, they have that option and they are notified. They know what they're doing, what they have.
Thank you. Further discussion? No, I'm sorry, she's in front of you. Yep, yep.
My name is Kathleen Webster. I live at 685 Baldwinville Road here in Baldwinville. I've come to meetings now probably for 11 years, and we vote on this every year. I've brought up 3 children in town. I have lived in the town since the day I was born. I have wonderful teeth. I'm going to be 70 years old, and I just went to the dentist this week, and he's thrilled we have fluoride in our water, and my children have never had any problems with their teeth. And sometimes I think this is just a little overboard and a little whatever. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Article 10.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Crocker, 689 Baldwinville Road. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and the Board of Health. The Board of Health continues to support community water fluoridation and sees no reason for this warning on the water consumer bills. Fluoride is not a chemical. In fact, it is an important mineral for everyone, children and adults. We all have bacteria in our mouths, and that bacteria produces an acid that harms our teeth. Fluoride protects our teeth and helps reverse early signs of decay. The board makes their decisions using evidence-based facts, of which there, over the last 75 years, in fact, community water fluoridation just celebrated 75 years, there have been over 3,000 legitimate studies and documents that provide data that overwhelmingly supports the safety and effectiveness of fluoride. The Templeton Light and Water posts the water quality testing results on their website. It discloses that they add fluoride to the optimal level. It is not a secret. The board sees no benefit to adding this proposed warning, and in fact would consider it a scare tactic. It is unnecessary. I would like you all to keep in mind that the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Dental Association, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and the American Cancer Society agree that water fluoridation is a safe and effective way to prevent tooth decay in children and everyone else. And to answer the question from Mrs. Griffiths, fluorosis is simply a change in the appearance of your teeth that can only be seen if you're detected if the teeth are dry and under light. They're just spots, and they're not harmful. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Article? Yep. No, Stephen, I believe you're up next. Julie, if you could just, yeah. Okay. Let him have it. You can have it after him. Yep. He was waiting there patiently.
Steve Drury, Drury Lane, where we make muffins. Anyway, I'm for these acts, and I would like to say that I don't drink the water. That's why I'm like I am. The bottom line is quite simple, okay? If you want fluoride, then you take the liberty to put it in your water and whatever you want. But in the general speaking of the people who aren't here, many of the people I've spoke to do not want fluoride in their water, and they do exactly what I do. They go where they don't have fluoride and get water to drink. So the bottom line is that all the studies that these people are quoting, all right, and for teeth, it's interesting to note that Canada completely eliminated this. England completely eliminated this because it doesn't work on teeth. And what it does work on is compliance. Mentally, it makes you a conformist. It sets you back into a situation chemically. And you know, we are chemical bodies, and those are the studies you are not seeing. And I say to you, why should I have to pay for that and be poisoned? And the problem is it takes a lifetime and to generate it in your bones and to get this into you. Now the studies show this, and you can buy a study anywhere you want. You know, it's just like Trump says, buy anything you want. The bottom line is we don't need fluoride in water, we just need water. And you know, it doesn't make it any purified. And if people want their teeth, you know, go to the dentist and put the fluoride on your teeth and fine. But I say to you that in the interest of everyone, because all you people that want fluoride, fine, go get some. But us, we don't want it. We want it out, and we're being told that we have to have it. And we're being poisoned when we take a shower.
Thank you. Further discussion, Article 10.
I would like to, Julie Farrell, 24 Myrtle Street. I would like to rebut some of the things that our Board of Health chairperson stated. I have studies from 2020, 2019, 2017 that look at the impact of fluoride and IQ in children. It's showing more and more that water fluoridation at the levels that we currently have show a loss of between 3 and 5 IQ points in each generation if they drink formula reconstituted with fluoridated water, if they drink water that has fluoride in it. This has a number of ramifications in our society. It shifts the bell curve from the amount of people who have IQs that are above, okay, exceptional, and it shifts that bell curve so that we end up with more people who are challenged. We're losing IQ points. This has economic ramifications. This is why it comes up every year. Studies have been done, more and more studies are being done to look at the impact of water fluoridation and IQ. I'm not saying people should not take care of their teeth. I just don't think water fluoridation is worth the cost of losing those IQ points. And I would be happy to see which studies you have, the 3,000 studies you mentioned, that show that water fluoridation has no detrimental effect on human beings. All right, well, I would like them because I came prepared, okay? Because every year you come up and say these things.
Okay.
All right.
Julie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you want to follow up with that? We're not going to...
Sure. I don't
Okay.
want to argue or go back and forth, but I can produce the 3,000 studies more if anybody needs to see them. I can say that naturally, water, in all water, again, in vegetables, anything you eat that has water applied to it, naturally, fluoride occurs in it. So, and the CDC does recommend breast milk if that makes anybody feel any different about it. If it's not possible, use formula, that's okay as well.
Thank you. Further discussion? Article 10.
Liz Toth, 141 Gray Road. Basically, if the CDC is actually saying, saying that if your child under the age of 6 months is exclusively consuming infant formula reconstituted with fluoridated water, it poses a risk. They're not talking about adults. They're not talking about older kids. They're talking about under 6 months. And I see no reason why this statement should not be put out there for parents to be able to make the decision, be well informed as to what they are or are not giving to their children. So I don't see any risk with that, and I don't consider it fear tactics. And I would like to know, Board of Health, Richie? Okay, you were down here. What is your, just dates, what is, for your, no, you said you had over 2,000, 3,000 studies. Right, past 75 years. What in the past 3 years studies have proven that it is safe for infants under 6 months of age? How many have proven that it's safe? Okay, well, thank you. Sir, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Article 10.
Mr. Moderator, Mike Dixon, 465 Patriots Road. I'd like to make a motion that we move the question.
Okay. Do we have a second on that? Okay. There's been a motion made to move the question. All in favor of moving the question signify by saying yes. Yes. Anybody opposed? Say no. That's unanimous at 6:59. We are now voting on Article 10. All in favor of Article 10 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Sorry guys, we're going to do a hand count on that one. If you are in favor of Article 10, simply raise your hand, keep it raised. If you are opposed to Article 10, please raise your hand, keep it raised. Thank you.
Point of order.
1 minute. Point of order, go ahead.
Steve Drury Lane, Templeton. In the title, which was given to us, it says that was held over Article 10, 11, and 12, held over for 2020 a citizen's petition to this meeting date. I want you to tell me what bylaw allows you to take a warrant issue and move it to this meeting, because I believe it's illegal. You have to start the meeting, as I understand it, from the past meeting and then bring it up.
Okay, Stephen,
the pandemic doesn't matter. Let me finish, if I may, before you interrupt me. But I'll listen.
Do you want me to answer your question?
Pardon me?
I'm going to answer your question. Do you want me to answer your question?
Hold on. I've got to arrange my glasses.
Okay, so while you're doing that, let me explain this to you. There was a concern with regards to COVID, as there still is, and the petitioner was not comfortable being in the room at that time. It was an agreement not by just myself, but with the board members to have consideration instead of going through the whole process again, getting signatures, and from what I'm to understand, it was 10 signatures at the time. If you were to redo the entire thing, it would be 100 signatures. So a bylaw? No. But we decided to do that out of respect, especially during COVID situation. That's how this article, and like you said, the next one ended up here.
I know you told me this, but the problem is that we do things by law and regulation. We don't do things out of consideration or even the respect that you gain on this issue. And I respect what you did. However, what point is it if we used to forward it and then it just gets thrown out in the AG's office because of the realization of the registration and regulations that we didn't follow? I say to you, okay, that these items should have been brought up in the beginning of the meeting, because that's what it's supposed to do. That's how you do it. Or they would have been brought forth by the selectmen. They could have brought these things forth, and it doesn't say that. It says it's brought by petition.
Correct. So, Stephen, to answer your question,
I ask you, I'm not asking. I object, and I want a legal definition given to me that how you're moving these questions.
Okay, so I've tried to explain it to you. We're going to explain it to you again, okay? Legal counsel has reviewed all the warrant articles, and you have to understand, it gets here a couple of ways, right? Either by a citizen's petition or by the Board of Selectmen, okay? So if we were just doing it just because, I can understand your concern. This has been passed through legal counsel, and they're advising us it is okay. So, for the point of order in the beginning, I'm going to let you talk on your article, just like I'm going to let Julie talk on hers, okay? And I say that because you guys are the petitioners, okay? There's no hidden secrets. You'll have the microphone, but we're going to do this, and we're going to let the town vote, and it's either going to be whatever the vote is, okay, is how we're going to decide this. Mr. Curry, go ahead.
Mike Curry, Select Board Chair. Steve, we do this under the authority of the Select Board. It's
Well,
that,
again,
it's that
I'm
simple.
asking simply for your authority and to state it, because I looked at the bylaws. You don't have authority. No one has authority to do this. And good luck, you know, I mean, the bottom line is I realize you can go to other procedures like the Attorney General. However, especially in the next article, and lots of things that come across here, it's time that we follow the law and we follow the regulation and we just don't do the other things. And I mind you that there is a bylaw that we're violating. To bring a petition forward, you have to have 100 signatures. And I only did 10.
So, Mr. Drury, your point is noted, okay? And next time, we will not give that consideration. We'll make you go through the work again, and you will get 100 signatures to come back on to the next meeting.
I could get more.
Okay. So that was your point of order. We had a vote. The count is...
Vote on that, really, when it didn't get a legal answer.
Okay. And I'm telling you what the answer is. We can agree to disagree, but we're not going to continue with this all night. This is the way it is, and that's how it's going to happen, okay? If it gets shot down by the Attorney General's office, then it does. And if it gets passed by the Attorney General's office, then it does.
As a matter of record, the moderator and the attorney, if I may speak to that, is forwarding this stuff without giving legal reference. Thank you. That's all I wanted.
Right. We are going to let the town vote on it. That's correct. That's what we're going to do. So we did have a hand count, and it was 20 no and 12 yes. Article 10 did not pass. Article 11.
We were on 11.
No, we were on 10. This is 11.
Mr. Moderator, point of order. I didn't hear the time.
7:08 p.m. I apologize. We're still on Article 11.
So we're on Article 11? Okay.
We're doing that one right now, yes. Yep.
Okay. Move that the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to seek legislation as set forth below, provided, however, that the general court may make clerical or editorial changes of form only to the bill, unless the Board of Selectmen is hereby authorized to approve amendments which shall be within the scope of the general public objectives of the petition, or to take any other action thereon or in relation to. An act authorizing annual town meeting as the responsible party on any and all decisions involving fluoridating or not fluoridating the public water supply. Section 1, notwithstanding Section 8C, Chapter 111, Title 16, Part 1 of the general laws of, or any general of the special law to the contrary, the legislative body at annual town meeting with a majority vote shall be authorized to make any and all decisions in regards to fluoridating or not fluoridating the public water supply. However, should town meeting vote to fluoridate the public water supply, oversight on fluoride dose shall go to the town's Board of Health. Annual town meeting shall also make decisions on health warnings involving water fluoridation and any other decisions involving fluoride in the public water supply. Section 2, upon effective date of this act of the legislative body at annual town meeting shall become the responsible party for all matters concerning fluoride and the public water supply. Section 3, this act shall take effect upon passage.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Advisory committee, we have a second. Do we have advisory committee?
The advisory committee voted 5-0 to make no recommendation on this article.
Thank you.
Okay.
Discussion on Article 11.
All right. As I mentioned in the last, whoops, sorry, I got my stuff messed up. As I mentioned under the last article, fluoride is a known neurotoxin. That means it affects your brain. It affects the developing brains of children much more. The dose of fluoride that they get is concentrated because their body mass is smaller. There are now 7 mother-offspring fluoride studies, and they reveal that the fetus and formula-fed infant in fluoridated communities and in naturally occurring high fluoride areas as well. Fluoride does occur naturally in the water supply of some areas in the United States. I don't believe it's naturally occurring in Templeton. Are the most vulnerable to fluoride's neurotoxicity. 6 of the 7 studies measured the urinary levels of pregnant women for fluoride, as it is the most accurate indicator of daily total fluoride intake. The urinary fluoride levels taken from pregnant mothers were compared to the IQ of their offspring in blinded tests where neither examiners nor the subjects were aware of the subject's fluoride exposure status at the time of the neurodevelopmental exams. Certain high levels of fluoride in the pregnant women's urine were found to significantly impact the IQ or neural development of the offspring. These high urinary fluoride levels were found in pregnant women living in fluoridated cities, as well as in naturally occurring high fluoride areas. Some of the loss of IQ is quite significant, and males tended to be more impacted by the water fluoridation and being bottle fed than females, but there was also a drop in IQ in the females as well. This is the reason and the impetus for this act, so that this town, back in 1951, I believe, voted to add fluoride to the water supply. We were one of the first communities in Massachusetts to add water fluoridation chemicals to our public water supply. All right, you may think that this does not affect you because you have a well. A drop in IQ affects our society. It affects everyone significantly. So I'd ask for you to consider voting yes on this article.
Further discussion, Article 11. You can be next. That's fine. Yep, you're fine. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Elizabeth Crocker, 689 Baldwinville Road. Again, speaking on behalf of myself and the Board of Health. This article is contrary to current state law, which gives the responsibility of community water fluoridation, which is a public health measure, to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, who makes a recommendation to the local Board of Health, which in turn is authorized by the state to order the concentration of fluoride to be brought to the optimal level of prevention in the community's water supply. Please note that fluoride is a concentration, not a dose, because it's not a medication or a drug. It comes from the element fluorine, which occurs naturally in the Earth's crust in the form of the fluoride ion, and is known as nature's way to prevent decay. As with other health matters, I would personally prefer to leave these decisions to the experts in the field who are familiar with the issues rather than change the current state law, allowing Templeton annual town meeting responsible for the public health issues. This seems illogical and unwise. CDC states that the community water fluoridation is one of the 10 greatest public health achievements of the 20th century and is most cost-effective strategy for improving dental health. And I would thank the people in 1951 from Templeton who voted to have it put in the water. I would ask you to vote no on this warrant and leave these public health measures to the experts. And I'd be more than happy to get the studies about the IQ as well. Thank you.
Further discussion, Article 11. Mr. Drury, can be next.
Dan Keeney, Baldwinville. Mr. Moderator, I'm just seeking clarification. It says held over from 2020 annual town meeting. Is that the 2020 annual town meeting held in 2019, or is that the 2021 town meeting held in 2020?
It was the one we just had in June.
Okay. Okay, so then there should be no concern about voting any articles that were presented were these presented at the annual town meeting?
No, this is what we just had the prior discussion.
I heard that, yes, that's why I'm here.
Yep, so what we did is we put it onto this meeting with consent from everybody, okay? Due to the COVID situation, the amount of work that was put into it, so it wouldn't have to be done again for this meeting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Jury, you can be after Mr. Jury. Did you want the microphone? Sure. Okay.
Again, Steve Drury, Drury Lane, Templeton. I support this or anything that would involve warnings on fluoride. Everything I read about fluoride is not good. And bottom line is, if I must insist that the situation with fluoride to babies and so forth can cause brain damage. And you know, when you're talking infants, you just look at toothpaste. But you know, you got soda and you got all these things, and the bottom line is that we don't need more, and it's a building situation. You know, it starts with the water, and then it starts with everything you eat with the water, and then, you know, all the other things, the soda, everything else. Everything, before you know it, you've got this really amount of fluoride inside you. And so I can only emphasize, and if in a republic form of government, in a liberty of individualism, that if you want fluoride in your water, then you put it in, because the public water supply should be clean, like the air should be clean.
Thank you. Liz?
Hey, Liz Toth, 141 Gray Road. Two questions. First to the Board of Health. Why would the CDC give contrary recommendations? Second question is that even when my kids were little, the dentist always said that when a child is first learning to brush their teeth, not to use the toothpaste with fluoride in it because it was dangerous. If I could get her to answer both those questions, please.
Board of Health, I'll let you answer those questions, sure.
The first one was about the CDC.
Why would the CDC provide contrary recommendations?
Okay. Which recommendation?
For those infants under 6 months.
Okay, they've actually changed that recommendation.
As of?
I want to say a couple years ago. For under 6 months, no. But you shouldn't be putting toothpaste in a child's mouth that's under 6 months anyways. And you don't swallow toothpaste. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, under 3 years. What it is they didn't want children to swallow the toothpaste. And they did change it. For an adult, it's a pea-size amount. It's a speck that you can put on, but they're saying you don't have to use non-fluoridated toothpaste anymore. But you're not supposed to swallow your toothpaste. That's what it comes down to.
Okay. Thank you.
Adult, no one should swallow toothpaste.
You're next. No. You're next.
I just have a question on this because it says that at the town meeting will become responsible party for all matters concerning fluoride and the public water supply.
I know
does that mean they're going to start making, if this passes at the town meeting, they can make decisions for our water department? I certainly don't want people making decisions about the water that aren't qualified. I know working 32 years at Light and Water, what those people go through training, they go through classes, they have to get licenses. Is this what this is stating?
So you're asking a question to the water department?
I'm asking a question to Julie on this, or
Well,
whoever.
she doesn't work for the water department. I can have the water department. You can answer that, Julie?
It just says here. but then it says, okay, in here it says, for all matters concerning fluoride and the public water supply. So there's other things other than just fluoride in the public water supply. And I was just wondering,
So, okay, I know you identify yourself in the past. Can you just identify yourself, please?
Kathleen Webster,
Thank you.
685 Baldwinville Road.
Would you like a response from the water department?
I'd like a response for whoever can answer that question.
Well, I think the most appropriate person would be somebody who works for the water department.
Well, they didn't bring this article up.
Correct, but they know how their water plant or whatever is going to run. And if they're going to allow it or not allow it, depending upon how votes go.
Okay.
Do we have anybody from the water department that wants to clarify her question? Sure.
I'm just trying to make the point that I think it'd be very dangerous for people to just decide something and vote it at a town meeting if they really don't know the water system.
Okay. Sir, can you identify yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Ron Davin. Ron Davin, the water superintendent for the town of Templeton. Yes, we are all qualified to run the water department. I think what she's asking is, it sounds like you're going to hand over something to the selectmen to decide what they're going to do with the town water. That's what she's asking.
Okay. Julie, you want to clarify that? Sure.
What we're asking through this article is to have, just the way town meeting voted to put fluoride into the water supply, is have town meeting decide whether we should continue that practice or not. Not to take the control of the water supply away from it and bring it to the selectmen or do anything like that. It's, town meeting voted in 1951 to put fluoride in the water, and this is to make that decision, have town meeting make that decision, just on water fluoridation. That's it. And
Thank
this
you.
would have to go to the Attorney General. It's not, what this town meeting decides isn't final. If this is voted in the affirmative, this has to go to the Attorney General for approval.
As do all the other articles. I agree. Further discussion.
Mr. Moderator, Mike Dixon, 465 Patriots Road, Templeton. I'd like to make a motion to move the question, please.
There's been a motion to move the question. Do we have a second? Okay. You're next. He was before you. Okay? Right now, we're voting on moving the question. All in favor of moving the question signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? No. So that passed. We're going to move the question. That was at 7:23 p.m. All in favor of Article 11 signify by saying yes.
Yes. Yes.
All opposed? Article 11 did not pass at 7:23 p.m. Mr. Jury.
Again,
Mr. Jury, do you have an article?
I do right here.
Okay. Is it signed?
Yeah, I
Okay.
signed it.
You need
And
to
I also gave her a copy signed, which you don't have, so that's not my problem. But I would like to read it first. To present this on to the warrant, she had to get a copy, and it was signed. But it doesn't matter. I
Okay.
got this one signed.
So just like every other article tonight, it needs to be presented in writing,
It's
and it
signed
needs
right here.
it needs to be signed. Okay, so present
Doesn't need
it,
to be
Mr. Jury. Listen, present it in writing. Have it signed. Okay.
I signed it.
Okay.
But I want to use it so I can read it. Okay? Sign this one and take it out. Sure. There you go. How do I contaminate these? Uncontaminate.
Mr. Joy, I need you to sign this in a pen, please.
This is all I have.
I have a pen right here.
Oh. All right. Article 12, the number of voters necessary to constitute a quorum at an annual town meeting shall be 25% of the voters registered at the previous January 1st vote, obviously, year. Once a quorum has been assembled, the continued existence of the quorum shall be presumed until a count of the voters present is called, which shall be taken upon the call of 7 or more standing registered voters, establishing the quorum is not present, but any number may adjourn any meeting. The moderator shall determine and announce the presence of a quorum at the start of the annual meeting. All town annual meetings shall count the number of entries of all registered voters before entry in the meeting place and relay such to the moderator before the start any annual town meeting. His determination shall be conclusive upon the question. Oh, there goes my glasses. Hold on, can't see a thing without them. Conclusive upon the question or required number of quorum, unless his determination is in doubt. And then one registered voter, in which case a count shall be taken and then recorded. In other words, the registered voter will rise and then recorded in the records of the town clerk. This may be done at any time. The moderator, having controlled over the annual town meeting, shall be guided by the town meeting times book, which was in the bylaws, prescribed and established in Article 2, Section 17 of the old bylaws, not the new ones, which shall be determined and govern factor for the rules and practice here contained for a motion of quorum. I think I read that right.
It's okay. It's also posted up there for everybody to see.
Okay.
Hold on. Do we have a second? Advisory Committee, we have a second to Advisory Committee?
The Advisory Committee recommended 5-0 against this article.
Okay. Further discussion on Article 12.
All right. It's no surprising me or this body that they wouldn't want a quorum. Frankly, the clerk gives the Attorney General under a letter stating in perjury that we have no quorum. She uses a 0. And I have the document right here. The bottom line is that a quorum needs to be done because the town times book actually instructs as to a quorum. And it actually instructs if you want a quorum to be less, that you have to take action. Every single committee, every single gathering of bodies usually has a quorum, and it's either by statute or, in this case, you know, it's important that a town meeting has a quorum to the fact is that the town is represented. That's the whole purpose, so that not a few people determine, but an actual amount that represents the town. We don't have that. We don't have nothing here. This is a disgusting way to operate. And I think it's also interesting that many of the selectmen from the past used to hold meetings, as well with the moderator, trying to get people together. I want you to understand that without a quorum, and the facts are when you put a quorum, people come, because things don't get done if you don't have a quorum. If they're not here, okay? And it needs to be a forced situation in that sense, because it's fair. That's the reason, because it's fair. It's unfair to have a few people, all right, make decisions, and everybody has to pay for it. Now, you might think, okay, and I don't expect you to have a heart on this, but I was here before you when the school was in question, and again, remote learning, nobody wanted it. They laughed at me, and I want to say, now you're doing it. See, it's forced. So I want you to understand, in the rules, in the legislation, in the Mass General laws, it always speaks of a quorum. To not have a quorum is stupid, and it's unfair to all the public, everybody here. And if these people want to keep voting the way they're doing, they might as well go to Russia. They might as well go to China, okay? Because that's the kind of dictatorship that we're ending up with, because the people are not here. When the people aren't here, they can't speak. Now, right now we have a pandemic, okay? This meeting shouldn't have been handled even here. Should have been on the outside as far as I'm concerned. But you're wrong to continue this. Totally wrong. And more importantly, you don't even have a bylaw that says you can put 0. Okay? That's a number. And you're continuing to do this. And I am going to do something about it. End of story.
Further discussion. Article 12. Yep, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Justice Graves, 90 Queen Lake Road, Templeton. So I appreciate that the petitioners brought this before us today, but I would like to make some comments about having such a mandatory quorum at this particular level. Let's put this into perspective. We have only a little over 5,000 registered voters in town, but at 25%, that would mean over 1,000 people need to not only be in this room during the annual town meeting, but during any sort of vote. To put that into perspective, during our annual town elections, only 1,194 people voted. We don't even go over the 25% that's being suggested until we talk about the state primaries that happened on September 1st. And if you look at the past 10 years of annual town meetings, only about 185 people per meeting show up. That's 3% of the population. So while I understand the transparency of wanting this statute, at the same time, we don't have the ground game. And I want to point out that it's the law of unintended consequences. If we don't have this quorum, when a quorum is called, the trust that we put in the select board and in the advisory council cannot move forward. We can't move forward with legislation or budgetary or executive issues at the ATM. And, it's one of those things. My right to vote is immutable. I can vote if I want to, or I cannot vote. It's also my choice. I can be here or not be here. So, as the old saying goes, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink from it. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Article 12. Tony.
Tony DeJoy, 8 Minuteman Drive. It's great to see a young person taking such an interest. I'll correct a few of his numbers. We have about 5,700 registered voters right now in town, so that's 1,425 people that would have to be in this room. Absolutely ridiculous. If you add up special town meetings, annual town meetings for the last 5 years, would you even have that many in an aggregate? No. You can't make people come to a meeting. It's their right to come. It's their right not to come. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. You just can't. If people don't care to come, they don't care to come. You care to come, which is great, but people just don't, some people just don't care. They're happy letting other people decide for them. So that's their right. You can't force someone to come to a meeting.
Mr. Jury. Yep. Mr. Dixon, you can be next.
I respectfully understand your position that you think that people have a right to come and go, to vote. I personally feel that it is a duty to vote. I also know that when we don't vote and we don't have the tools to protect our voting, then we're in trouble. Now, I've talked to people and they tell me, what can I do? I'm just one guy. And they all think like that, and it's like a virus. It goes everywhere. And that's why you don't get anywhere. The whole point of ask yourself, why is there not a virus? I mean, why is there not a quorum, in the legislation? Why aren't we doing the quorum if you have no fear? The fact of the matter is you're trying to control the meeting. You're trying to do by the people who show up, all right? Because there's a zero. There's no quorum. Now, I disagree with that. I believe there is a quorum because you never established that there wasn't a quorum. So you've got Zippo, all right? The Attorney General will hear that, and that's the bottom line. And I tell you this, all right? It's a very serious situation. As an American, as a patriot, I know that we need people to come. And sometimes you have to have a law or a regulation that stops things. And that's why Congress and senators all have to have a quorum. That's why the board over here has a quorum. I'm sure you have a quorum. And that's why there was a quorum with the board that recently got fined, which I made a point of saying, you can't do this because it's a conflict of interest. And they went ahead with it anyway. The bottom line is that this matters to your republic, to your liberty, to you. You go ahead and you say, no, we don't need a quorum. So don't come back and tell me that I can't point my finger at you and tell you that you're doing what you're doing to me. Because that's what you're doing. Because it ain't the town. The town ain't here.
Further discussion, Article 12.
I can't match that motion. Michael Dixon, 465 Patriots Road, Templeton. Been coming to town meeting for a very long time, starting back in the 70s. The discussion of quorums at town meeting has been held. If anybody wants to go back and look at the records, it has been acted on and it was not voted in favor of. So we do not have a quorum established, and that was by town meeting. Now, to my question, is this a bylaw? Is that what this is intended to be?
If it passes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Was this advertised in advance, or was it submitted tonight?
It was advertised at the annual town meeting in June. Actually, prior to June, because we postponed it a couple of times.
All right, so it has been rightfully advertised, because I know bylaws need to be advertised in advance. All right, in that case, I would like to make a motion to move the question.
Okay, so your question and your statement and all that can be heard, but you can't end it with move the question. They have to be separate. So I'm going to ask is further discussion, Article 12. Yep, you're all set, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Dan Keeney, Baldwinville. If I understand the article, it looks like we're voting on two separate things. I think it's asking us to vote on a quorum, and it's also asking us to follow the directions of town meeting times. And I'm not certain whether or not we currently do follow town meeting times. We may or may not. I thought it was Robert's rules, but I'm not sure. But somewhere in the bylaws, it does state what it is we're supposed to follow. So if we're changing an existing bylaw or if we're creating a new bylaw, this is unclear to me.
So just to clarify, that you're correct in your questions. Okay, we do abide by town meeting times. Town meeting time says we don't need a quorum, 0 is a number, unless there was a bylaw that otherwise specifically states that. And you are correct, there's actually two technically questions in here. Yes. Further discussion, Article 12. The guys in the front, if you wouldn't mind, just, I want to save those seats for somebody who's... Steve, one second. I'm not kicking you out. If somebody else wants to go, they can sit to use the microphone. Go ahead, Mr. Jury.
Steve Jury, you're mistaking as to the quorum being adjudicated or decided as a 0. There is nothing in the record that says that. And the town times actually indicates that you can set a quorum, which is what I did, at a percentage, and which is what I did. So it would vacillate, so that if people didn't come, less people would have to show up. So it actually adequates that particular, but it never does 0, ever. And I say to you, again, this is wrong to continue doing meetings without a quorum. And the best way to get people here is to have a quorum. And when nothing happens, that's their liberty too. That's a tool. Maybe they don't want to come. They're so frustrated, the people I spoke with, the people I got signatures from, and I could get 100 easy. They're so frustrated that they don't even want to participate in this. All right? And that's wrong. So this is the checks and balance, all right? This is why we have a quorum, is because we need a checks and balance. This takes it away, the responsibility of the elect, because it brings it back to the people, and that's why you're here anyway. You're here because we want you, the town, to vote. Well, this ain't the town. You can look for yourself. It's not the town. This is wrong.
Thank you. Further discussion, Article 12. Go ahead. I wasn't throwing you out. That's reserved if you want to use the microphone. Yeah, thank you. Go right ahead.
Justice Graves, 90 Queen Lake Road. I would like to make a motion to move the article.
Move the question, it's fine. Sure. Understood. Yep. We have a second. All in favor of... There's been a motion on the table. All in favor to move the article signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? So that's unanimous at 7:43. God bless you. All in favor of Article 12 signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? No. That did not pass at 7:43 p.m. So, Tim, are you just going to do that?
Yes. Mr. Moderator.
He made a motion to dissolve the town meeting. Oh. Is that what you were going to do?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I saw you grabbing it, but okay. Can you just use the microphone, Tony, please, so they can hear you?
Mr. Moderator, I make a motion to dissolve town meeting.
Motion second. All in favor of dissolving the town meeting signify by saying yes. Yes. Anybody opposed? That's unanimous at 7:44 p.m. Thank you.
45 minutes to do the town's business, an hour and 15 minutes for this.